Welcome back, everybody, to Relentless Talk Radio. This is episode 43. It's our third segment, which is the art and entrepreneurism segment, and also fashion. So I'm going to fix that on the thing here. So I am online with Ruby Farias. And Ruby, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Michelle, for asking me to join you today. I'm thrilled. My name is Ruby Farias. I own Ruby Farias Designs. I'm an artist and designer. I paint and embellish clothing and accessories, as well as, of course, designing.
So you and I have been friends for I don't know, probably 8 years. We've been bouncing off each other in the Scottsdale network, and I've watched you develop several different designs. I'm in awe of the work that you come up with. You do a lot of fashion work with fabric. So one of the reasons why you're on today is because you're part of the Fashion Fourth segment. So every fourth Friday from now through the end of 2020 at least, we'll be focusing on a local artist and fashion designer who works at fabric. So thank you for being agreeing to come on Fashion Fourth on Relentless Talk Radio. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So why fashion? I'm sorry, say that again.
I said fabric is fantastic. They're doing a fantastic job.
And now, do you have a place down there?
Do I have what?
Well, do you have a studio at Fabric as well, or do you just do a lot of their shows?
I do not.
Yeah.
No, I do not. I'm usually in their shows, or I participate in some way.
That's super cool. So why fashion? Because you initially, I think, started as an artist, correct?
Yes. I've always been an artist, and it just sort of fell into place. And I don't know if you knew this, Michelle, but I sort of took a hiatus from art and fashion. I was a banker
I think
for 20 some odd years. And but I've always been an artist. As a kid, I doodled, but my mom used to make clothes. So she taught me how to sew, and I was thrilled. I don't know, I must have been about 12 years old when I made my first pair of pants. So, but it's sort of come around full circle, because I did really focus on my art for many, many years. And then I just was doing that, left the banking industry about 11 years ago, really was painting on canvas. I primarily was painting acrylic on canvas, but I needed something to wear in the studio. I had the first paint and sip studio up here, North Phoenix, Scottsdale area, not too far from me. And I needed something to wear in the studio. So I actually painted a dress and a pair of boots, and people loved it. So I was asked to create many pieces for a show, and friends also were asking me to paint their clothes. So, but it has come full circle. When I was a young girl, I did model, but that was a very long time ago. And so, I just sort of fell into place, and then I started painting on clothes, and I haven't painted on canvas for, about 5 or 6 years.
So you kind of accidentally became a fashion designer.
I did, sort of.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
It is, but I've always been a lover of fashion. I used to put on fashion shows in my 20s in Boston, where I lived. And so I sort of was in and out of fashion. But when I was in high school, my dream was to become a designer. It didn't pan out for me. And so I went on to, do my crafting and my jewelry and things like that. And so I guess it was meant to be, but much later.
It's funny. I just posted a picture of Doc and I at Christmas last year, and I was wearing a pair of your earrings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which I got
remember
last year. You're doing another one of these this November, location to be announced, but you have a kind of a show every year, a kind of a sale every year, just pre-Christmas time, correct?
Yes, yes. Every year I do a little happy hour get together and share my wares.
I'm gonna grab the earrings. I have them right here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have them right here in my little box while you're talking.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I can't see you, but I'm sure.
Aren't those awesome? I could put them in, but I love those. Those are my fave. I wear them all the time. In fact, I'm probably gonna wear these on Saturday at the Amanda's Hope Gala, and I'll shout you.
Wonderful.
Aren't those awesome? Even better when I have hair. I've been growing my hair out. So, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned as an entrepreneur? I think I've got another pair in here somewhere too. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned as an entrepreneur?
Well, it's hard work. It is a lot of hard work and dedication, and it's not easy. And, there's a lot of things that as a designer that you should learn before jumping in, because, there's a lot of stories about different designs being stolen, and we know it in this environment. You go to any fashion week and it's pretty quick, some of the turnarounds to copy designs, and that goes for everything from shoes to jewelry to clothing. So, just making sure from a legal standpoint that you're covered, I think is really important. And
making sure you're copywriting your designs.
Oh yeah, you have to do copyright, your name. You definitely need to trademark your name. I had a friend whose designs and name were stolen. So it's very important to. I'm sorry?
Her personal name or her business name?
Business.
Yeah. So I'm doing here's the other earrings that I got. I love these. I think I might wear these on Saturday night. These are the ones I wore last Christmas. But these ones I think I might wear Saturday night. They're fantastic.
Cool.
I'm doing an intellectual property seminar with Marcos Garcia Costa soon. And I'm definitely going to make sure, you just made me realize I need to make sure the fabric folks know about that, because I do think that people don't realize how important it is. When I started my consulting company, Fearlessly Deliver, it was just a consulting company. And then as I started to add art into my mix, I ended up having a brand issue with a company in New York that I could have fought because I've been using the brand for 5 years, but I made a decision not to fight it. And the reason why I chose not to fight it was because, number one, she was an entertainment attorney, so she could have sued me all day long. It wouldn't cost her $1. Right? And number two, I felt like I didn't want to have brand confusion either. Like moving forward, I want to make sure our brands are separate. So it's sometimes you can do all the work in the beginning and your brand changes and you have to relook at it like I did. And I relooked at it and decided to change my brand to Micalizzi Enterprises, and then also to brand my art with Michelle Micalizzi, which I'm also patenting. So good for you for mentioning that. So we talked about this earlier, and you had an interesting answer when we were kind of pre-show. And the question was, when have you struggled with choosing authenticity? Maybe thought maybe you should back up from being authentic and maybe candy coat something, but chose to be authentic and had a win. And you laughed, and she goes, "Well, I'm gonna have a hard time with that question because I'm always authentic." And I thought, well, that's an interesting answer. I want to hear more about that.
Well, I am who I am, and what you see is what you get, kind of thing. But it's not about of course I would never want to hurt someone's feelings, but that's sort of a personal level. Right. But when you're in and I could relate back to when I was in the corporate environment, and that was, I would tell people I'm two different people, because I'm one person in the office and I'm a different person at home. Now that I'm not in that world, I can be who I am, and There's no pretending here. So I think it is a struggle when you're working for someone else sometimes, but as I've grown older and matured, I really think, and truly, this would be an important message to a lot of people and the young people too. Be yourself. It's you really, if you want people to really know you, show them who you are. So yeah.
You know, you have an interesting standpoint, because I remember when I was at Edward Jones, I had just moved to Arizona and Facebook became a thing. So I actually started using Facebook and social media, and I had to kind of make a decision, am I going to share the other parts of me on social media because I'm a financial advisor now? And do I want people to know that I'm sober? Do I want people to know that I'm a biker? Are they going to misunderstand that? So for the first couple of years I was in Arizona, I kind of kept all that under wraps. Not in my personal network, but I didn't share it on social media. And when I left Edward Jones, I felt kind of freed up. But I realize now that, I don't know, you are who you are, and your life is your life. And so if you're working in a position where you have to hide 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% of who you really are, is it really the job that you should be in?
Exactly.
And are you really kind of, looking back on it now, me being a biker and being sober is a good thing in some ways. And so if somebody was going to judge me for that, then they probably shouldn't be a client anyway. So my ideal client would be somebody who would appreciate those things about me, not be afraid to invest with me because I've been sober for 20 years. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
But it's hard when you're working for somebody else. So that's definitely
It can be. Yeah.
So you have another show, you don't have any shows planned coming up, but you do have some things that you're working on that are kind of interesting. You're doing some sustainability, sustainable fashion right now, and you've got some purses and straw cases that you're working on. Tell everybody about what that is about.
Yeah, so, I alluded to owning a paint and sip studio some time ago, and I ended up closing that because I chose to really focus on fashion. And in that world, it was, you're instructing a paint and sip studio. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's where you go in, you paint, and you can drink wine or beer or whatever.
Right.
So, it was
building.
It was at the beginning of the trend. And so when I closed it, I had many, many pieces of canvas. I donated so many pieces to Free Arts and another company, ACM, that, but I still had a lot of canvas left. So I kept those because I really didn't want to throw them away. I kept thinking, there's something that I could do with these. And most recently, I said, okay, I'm going to do something. I have a storage room that's got a ton of canvas, and I really need to, get some things done. So I started weaving the canvas. I cut up, these are existing paintings, 16 by 20 canvases. I'm cutting them and weaving to make clutch bags. And also, I have created these cases, and inside the case are biodegradable bamboo straws. So because, it's sort of an upcycling, recycling, the whole sustainability is really on trend, but it's such a good thing. And as many people may or may not know, the fashion industry is a very big culprit to, hurting our environment. All the dyes, all the mounds of clothing that just end up in yards. It's not a good thing. So I think a lot of people are getting on that bandwagon to see what they can do to help our environment and to really focus on doing better things for our world. And so this is my little tiny piece that I can contribute.
Did you have any samples?
I don't, can you see me? Because
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can see your body, but not that. Okay, cool. Bring them closer to your screen.
Okay. So,
Wow.
and I tagged it to show the client what it used to look like. And so that's the front. It's lined, and then, you know, here's the back. So
I
that's
love
I'll
these.
just show you a couple of examples. Here's another one. And that is what it used to look like.
Right.
And here's the back, and this is.
Now, are these your paintings or paintings of the folks that came to your Sippin paint shop?
These are mine. So
Okay.
all of the paintings that I created all the paintings for the Paint and Sip studio, and all of them were replicated. So the instructor would replicate my painting, or if I was instructing, I'm replicating and people are following along. So there was always an extra painting created. And I would have the originals and the dupes and sometimes more. But again, like I mentioned, I did donate a lot.
Right.
And so, yeah, these are my original paintings from the studio.
That is super cool idea. I love that. You're going to sell a bazillion of them too. That's really great. And what's and do you have an example of the straws?
Yes. So let me see. I think a lot of these. Yeah. Here's one. And this one has just a little tiny decoration. I had some ribbon lying around. It's a fabric type of, and some of them come with a little ornament, and then some of them don't. So here's one. And so inside, I put some Velcro on there, and there are 2 straws and a cleaner in there. So instead of using plastic straws, you can have these in your purse, in your car, in your pocket. And I have them, I carry them all the time now, because when I go into a restaurant, even at a drive up, you know, I've politely say, no straw, please. And I'll just take up my own straw and use that. So 1 straw at a time.
That's really cool. Those would be really great stocking stuffers.
Yes.
So you'll be sharing the link to wherever your November pop-up is going to be on your website, right? Which is
my website is rubyfariasdesigns.com. I have a Facebook page. I'm on Instagram. I'm starting. I mean, I've had a Pinterest one, but not very active. Same with Twitter. I'm mostly active on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, me too. Every once in a while I forget about that I haven't gone back to I go to Pinterest for inspiration as opposed to posting a lot, but I do post there. And Twitter, I forget, and then I go back and post once in a while. So same thing for me, Instagram and Facebook. So Ruby, I want to thank you for coming on Relentless Talk Radio. What a great idea with your sustainability fashions. I love how you came back to your original passion, which was fashion, in kind of a off way. That's kind of how I got back to painting myself. I started painting as a way to network and get my ideal clients in the same room together, and just kind of use it as an opportunity to build relationships. And then I ended up painting regularly again. So you and I have that in common. Thank you very much for coming on Relentless Talk Radio. Are you going to be at the Amanda Hope Gala on Saturday?
I'm not. I'm actually going to be judging a modeling talent type of runway show.
It's the Arizona's best model, right? Or something like that. Is that a fabric?
Actually, it's the Garment League. The Garment League is, and it's all shorter models that get overlooked. And so it'll be fun. Yeah.
That's really cool. So do me a favor, when we sign off, can you go to the comments on Relentless Talk Radio and make sure we have your website links, but also put a link to the Garment League event so we can support Tracy and the work that she's doing with the Garment League.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Appreciate it.
We'll see you soon. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.